Hey, we're live. Happy holidays, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to PRSA Nashville's Diversity Chat. Today, our guest is Mo.
Hi.
And I forgot to introduce myself because I'm so excited about this guest. I'm Ivy Johnson, Diversity Chair for our chapter. Today's chat is about diversity and inclusion in the communications and marketing industry. So I see somebody's watching. Oh, I see a couple people watching. Thank you for watching.
Hello, welcome.
So please send your comments and questions during the live feed. A little bit about our guest. Amo is a trans artist, actor, activist, and marketing professional. Amo has written for many national publications focusing on messages about gender, sexuality, religion, and overcoming trauma and abuse. They currently spend their time consulting with various digital, media, and marketing entities. This fall, Amo will start a speaking tour at universities, conventions, and conferences throughout the country, continuing the conversation about equality, inclusion, and consent. Welcome, Amo.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So I really wanted to have this conversation because gender diversity and inclusion is something I'm still getting used to. It's a new territory for me. And why
Me too.
And that's why it's perfect to have this conversation with you because
Yes.
I'm like, I don't want to be incorrect. I want to respect all diversity and inclusion, and gender is a part of that. So we're just going to ask a couple questions. And also, Amo has been on MTV's Real World.
Yes, I have. I was actually the first transgender person to ever be on The Challenge as well.
Really?
Yes.
So we have a legendary person on our chat today. But Amo also, like it mentioned, does a lot of consulting, contract work for marketing and communications jobs. So let's ask you some questions.
Great.
Well, first question, what pronoun do you go by?
I use they, them pronouns.
Okay. See, that's something new for me, asking what pronoun. And how did you get into the communications and marketing industry?
So, well before I did either TV or before my transition, I was a student, an advertising student at Brigham Young University. I grew up really Mormon, and as a young person, my parents conceptualized me being a lawyer or a politician. So I went to college with that kind of in mind, with writing being like my greatest passion. I love writing more than just about anything. And quickly realized that I didn't want to be selling politics to people, which is what I think politics are, is salesmanship and acting. And so I decided to just channel that creativity into something else, and I got involved with marketing and pretty quickly was able to get into some really great classes and programs that then positioned me to have a pretty successful career in marketing aside from the work that I've done on TV. So
cool.
I enjoyed a lot.
Good stuff, good stuff. Well, you have to enjoy it.
Yes.
You do a lot of contract work, as I mentioned before. How do you explain to clients the importance of diversity and inclusion in marketing?
So I have now been transitioning for 3 months hormonally, but previous to that, I've spent about 2 years in the industry where I was openly trans, non-binary. And I found that the easiest way to kind of tackle the diversity issue is just having confidence in my work. And then when I come into a new workplace, knowing that the work and the product that I'm going to bring to the table is good enough that I deserve the respect of a professional. So I really try at the beginning of any contract to be like, I am a trans person. I use they, them pronouns. And while I am not here to educate, I am also, I am open to having conversations. I think the most important thing, though, is recognizing, like, if you have a trans person working in your workplace, or really any person that is like, that falls on the spectrum of gender or race or sexuality, if you want to know about their story, pay for their lunch, like, don't do it in the office, because that's tacky.
Okay. That's good, Wayne.
Yeah.
Let's see. as a trans marketing professional, why do you think diversity and inclusion is important to the industry, especially in regards to gender?
Well, I think that trans people provide a really valuable perspective, especially in marketing. In marketing, we're trying to reach a niche while still including the umbrella of perspective and experience. I think that one thing that trans people bring to the table exclusively is this deep understanding of what gender is, what it means, and how it affects behaviors, especially purchasing behaviors. I have a deep understanding of what it means to act like a man because I was so deeply closeted for so long. I was performing masculine. Now, coming into this new chapter of life where I'm exploring my femininity much more, it's giving me permission to be a part of female conversations and spaces in ways that I wasn't before. And that's given me a greater understanding of both of those markets, both the male market and the female market. I think that that's a valuable thing that trans people can bring to the table in marketing, is this understanding of both sides of the coin and then creating strategies to assess the needs of both of those unique groups as well.
Oh, good stuff, good stuff. Let's see. Why aren't more organizations making gender diversity and inclusion in marketing a priority? Oh, and I see, my mom is here. Hey, Mom. She said hi.
Hi, Yvonne. I've heard wonderful things about you. Congrats on your retirement.
And she has a question. We're going to answer your question in a few, Mommy. So why aren't more organizations making gender diversity and inclusion in marketing a priority?
Honestly, I think it's about lawsuits. I think we are in a very sensitive culture right now, which I think has strengths and weaknesses. One of the strengths is that it gives people, marginalized people, a voice in the workplace they previously didn't have. It protects their rights in ways that previously have not been protected. However, we do have this increased sensitivity now, and that at times I think comes to a detriment in the hiring process. We're so scared of offending somebody that we don't hire them, and then we further proliferate, I guess, the problems that exist. Primarily, the biggest problem facing the transgender community is income. As it is with many marginalized communities, the best way to inspire growth and success in any marginalized community is to empower them with resources. I feel that way about my community, and I feel like if we are making the effort to hire and then just ask us several questions, like you would with any person, it's just questions that might be new to ask. What are your pronouns? Like you did so nicely at the beginning of this. So easy.
I'm learning.
So easy. What are your pronouns? Are there any special needs that you have in the workplace? And what can we be doing as a leadership team to empower you?
Okay, good stuff.
Same questions that you ask any person, or that a good leader would ask any person.
Yes. Good stuff. I'm taking notes. What companies or organizations do you think are doing diversity and inclusion successfully, especially for the trans community, the LGBTQ?
I think that the beauty community at large is making great strides for inclusivity. We have so many of these influencers that are incredibly powerful, that are transgender, and they're creating their own content.
Yes.
You have Nikita Dragon, who many of these people who I'm about to name, I don't agree with a lot of their personal beliefs, but I do celebrate what they are doing professionally. Nikita Dragon is doing an amazing job creating her own makeup line, marketing it herself, hiring talent, many of whom were transgender. I know that she hired Love Bailey, who is this incredible trans artist and filmmaker and model and actress in LA, to help with her most recent beauty campaign. Then you have people on the gender spectrum like Jeffree Star, who again, politics aside, really celebrate what he is doing to bring the gender conversation to the table and making that a part of the marketing that he does for his brand.
Yes.
So I think beauty is really trying. I mean, it's a place where we see women being really empowered. It's a place where we see LGBTQ people being really empowered, and then really focusing on the transgender community as we are in this conversation. That community is really feeling empowered.
That's like the fact that you brought up Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star was kind of like my introduction to. I'm like, oh, this is like a whole different.
This is different.
Yeah, this is a different perspective. Yeah. But I agree with you.
I know we have some.
It's like Jeffree. We have some.
Jeff. What do you need?
Therapy. But anywho,
so say we all. Yeah, I need therapy. Yeah.
If an employer wants to make their workplace more diverse and inclusive, what steps should they take?
I think the first thing is hiring a diverse workplace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like one of my dear friends in New York, she started working for this huge company. She's incredibly talented. Mm-hmm. She is very skilled, and she's one of only 2 people of color in her organization of 400 people in the workplace. That right there should be hugely problematic for anybody, especially in marketing and advertising, because to assume that a certain type of person, especially a certain type of person who historically has been very removed from the experience of a lot of marginalized communities, I'm talking about white people, white straight people, I mean, like, here we are. I feel like that comes at a major detriment to an agency's ability to create content that reaches the masses. Because our lenses are so specific to our experience, and if we want to widen that lens and then thereby widen the umbrella under with, we catch new business, new consumers. We need to have people who see the world differently than we do.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Good stuff. So it's time for questions from viewers, and Yvonne has about 2. Let's see. What is the best ad out there that reflects your philosophy?
Let's see here. What's an ad that Okay, so this is actually a really interesting question, because Yvonne's follow-up question is, what is the worst ad out there that rejects your philosophy? So ironically enough, the entity that has been responsible for the Dove commercials is unfortunately also responsible for Axe's commercials. And I think that Dove has the most fabulous campaign right now. It's very inclusive. It's celebrating women of all types and all bodies and all colors. But then on the flip side, you have Axe. And theirs is the worst.
Yes.
It's so diminutive to women, and it's so exclusionary. So I don't know. It's difficult, like, to look at advertising and to say, like, what reflects my philosophy, what doesn't, because at the end of the day, this is all about money, and my personal politics often are not the ones that are going to help a soap company sell to teenage boys.
Gotcha. That's true. It's true. And then she also asked, would you consider Laverne Cox commercials representative of your ideas, or are they a different community? Well, I guess she is. She's in the trans community, but she is African American.
Yes. First of all, I love Laverne Cox. She is probably one of my favorite visible trans activists. I don't disagree with anything that she said. I guess the only thing that I would say is, we do have different experiences. She has come up in a way that has likely taken a lot more work than I have, given the inherent privilege I have because of my skin color and my upbringing. And so I would hate to say that she speaks for me when she very clearly speaks for herself and communities that are far more marginalized than I am. But do I celebrate everything that she says, and do I agree wholeheartedly with her mission and what it is that she's trying to bring to the forefront of conversation about trans people? Absolutely.
And let's see. So, well, we kind of mentioned this already, but I'll say it again just for people in the back. Where do you think companies or organizations miss the mark when implementing diversity and inclusion programs in the workplace? I think we covered this, but.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this. I think anytime you make someone feel more marginalized through trying to increase diversity, it's like, it's like any diversity or inclusion programs in a workplace should work first and foremost to empower the marginalized people in the workplace. If it's about all of the other people and making them comfortable, you're doing it wrong.
Gotcha.
Because it should always be about protecting the people who have the least representation, the least coverage, the least protection in the workplace.
Gotcha. And also, if you want a good example of this, watch the Office Diversity Day episode. Yeah. And what do you know now in your career that you wish you had known when you first started in the marketing industry, or just in your career period?
I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but go with your gut.
You
know, it's like anytime my gut has told me, like, don't do this, don't follow this, yada, 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 and I've done it anyways, it's been a shit show.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
That's one boo-boo.
Sorry about that, but it has been, to be honest.
Let's see, what would be the best holiday gift to your community if you had the ear of marketing executives?
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I would love a pass to a spa.
Oh,
you know, like, just because there's so many things that like that are unique to trans people's needs. Like right now, I'm really being confronted with like the full force of how expensive it is to transition. And a lot of those things, most of those things aren't covered by insurance because they're considered to be cosmetic. They don't think about the fact that like if you took a straight cis man and he lost his voice for a day, and throughout the course of that day, everyone identified him as a woman, imagine how upset he would be.
Sure.
And he wasn't able to say anything, he would be furious. I mean, think about when you see a man with long hair and someone accidentally calls him miss from behind, they spin around and they're like, what'd you just say to me?
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine confronting that feeling, that like guttural rejection of what you're being confronted with every single day.
Yeah.
On that note, I think like things to spas are great because then if you want to give someone a chance to relax, they can get a massage. If you want to, then they can take the choice to either get a massage or like get laser hair removal or to get a facial, like something that can either relax, inspire, empower their transition. I think that like spas are great for everybody.
Well, Amo, it's been a pleasure.
It was thank you so much.
I know. And thank you for watching the Diversity
Thank you so
Chat.
much.
If you're watching now or if you're watching later, thank you for watching and have a happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.